Hi, Urvika.
Hi, Nikita. How are you?
Yeah. Good afternoon, Urvika. Welcome. We welcome you to Grade Up. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking out the time. Right. So let me introduce Urvika for you. Right. She is an alumnus of Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies. She secured a whopping 99.98 percentile in MAHCET, and currently she's working with Bajaj FinServ. Okay, so we've invited her here. You can post all your queries. You can ask her your queries. We'll have a discussion with her about her journey, right? Let's begin. Okay, let's see whether all of you have joined. Yes. Hi, Sanket. Hi, Rakesh. Right. So, Urvika, let me begin from the beginning. Okay. How are you as a student in school academically?
Okay. I was very nerdy. And I used to I was that kid in the class who wanted to get 10 on 10 in every test. But when I look back, I think that wasn't so much necessary. It was all undue pressures which I was taking. But yeah, so to say, I was a good student, always following the rules and making sure that I'm doing everything on time.
Okay, okay. So do you think that was an advantage for you when you, let's say, thought of giving management entrance exams?
Not really. I don't think it matters as long as you are doing well for yourself and you know what you are doing or what you are studying, that should be enough. But it's good to have above 70 or have average marks because those are profile considerations for some of the exams. So.
Okay, okay. So that means you're saying that it's not necessary to be academically brilliant, but yes, it does help if you've had a decent score. Okay, okay. So yes, that means don't lose heart in case you think that okay, I don't have this much GPA, I don't have those many percentage points. Don't worry so much about what has already happened, right? Okay. So this was about school. So how did you why did you decide to go for a management entrance exam, decide to go into management?
Okay, sure. So for me, it has been I come from a family of entrepreneurs. I'm the only person who has a job even today. Everyone else has their own ventures and everything. So when I was studying, I also started with my venture and I realized that I wasn't going that great with it because while I understood the technology, I knew how to go about it. There was literally no understanding of how to make it reach to the market and all. So I thought that, maybe I need a formal management education to understand all of these things and all. And I've always been a little fascinated about how businesses function and all. So that's how it happened for me. That made me choose MBA. And I was in particular very keen about Jamnalal Bajaj, lucky to have studied there.
Okay, okay. So you started your own venture. Wow. What was it about?
So it was about I wanted to bridge this supply demand gap in blood management, wherever. So there are a few states in India where we have a surplus of blood, and then there are a few states where there is a dearth of it. So the platform was basically enabled to have a network of between the hospitals and the blood banks.
Right, right. Wow, great. So are you still working on it?
Not really. Now it's been quite some time. So when I started it when I was in engineering, but like I said, when I came to JB, I realized a lot of things about how ventures function and all. So that's when I really got into it, and I even got into an accelerator program for the same. But then post that, I've been focusing on my career now in finance.
Okay, great. So take us a bit. I mean, take us to your preparation days. How would a day in your life look like when you were preparing?
Okay, so for me, actually, so I used to get up at 6:30, go run to a mock with drowsy eyes, give the mock 7 to 10. 10:30, I used to run to college. Then till 4:30, I used to be in college. Then come back home, analyze it, bug my faculties to help me understand where did I go wrong, why did I go wrong, etc. And then at night, I used to work on projects and then go to sleep around 12 o'clock. So the last, closer to exams, it was very hectic for me. But I think that's pretty much with everyone who's preparing. So,
wow. So yes, all of you are listening. It's hard work that pays off ultimately, right? And we started getting questions. So one of the questions is about the MHRD course in Jamnalal Bajaj. Could you tell us a bit about it?
Okay, so MHRD is like a fairly new course, which is like just started. It is so like for us, the MMS is our main course, like which is equivalent to MBA and all. But in that we have like all these finance, marketing, human resources, and everything. But then HRD course is like created just to focus on HR related subjects and to like like have students compete at a national level for HR.
Okay, okay. So fairly new course, but you. But you think
a really good batch and really good process and all, great faculties actually. So like JBIMS is known for its faculties and its alumni. So.
Okay. Okay. And one student, let me just tell you her name. She's very curious about how you got an internship in ISRO. Anshu is asking this.
Okay, sure. So that was not really management, but yeah, like, so I'm based out of Ahmedabad and here we have 2 ISROs. And like all they do have like few college partnerships and all, and then you have to submit a research proposal to them, and if you get accepted then you can intern with them.
Okay, yeah. Great. So Anshu, I hope you got your answer. That's how she got in. Okay. Please ask, what is the difference between the preparation of CAT and MHCT? This is a question by Nigam.
Okay, sure. Hi, Nigam. So I think like for me, I'm very impatient. So I knew that for me, like giving exams like CAT and SAT, they require a lot of patience and you have to be like very like, methodical while you're going about solving. I was more of like into speed-based examinations and I was like I wanted to be a little quick about how the questions come. Like I don't, like when I'm in that zone, it's like a battlefront for me. I want to just focus on what's going on. If I get spare time, then I'll just go back to the questions, be like, okay, no, I think this is right, or maybe I just went wrong about it. Should I give it more thought and things like that? So for CET, I think you need to be like a lot more, like your decision-making skills have to be really good because you need to know what questions you want to attempt, like whether you want to attempt this first or you want to attempt that later. And then you need to also, like as for quant, if I take an example of quant also, like you need to know what exactly would fit in, like what the question is trying to talk to you. What is it that you have to figure out? Is it a probability or is it like so whether it's like a permutation question or it's a combination question and alike. So the more you practice and the more different sort of like questions that you tackle, you will get a flavor of what exactly the questions are trying to communicate to you. So you will not waste time on like doing some random calculations to figure out the answers.
Okay, so basically Urvika is saying that speed is what matters, prioritization of questions matters, and of course practice. The more you practice, the better you'll get, even at your question selection.
Yeah.
Right? So which all other exams did you apply for? MHCT is one.
I did all the exams, like starting from, I think IIFT was the first one we had, then CAT, and then TIS, SNAP, NMAT, ZAT, and Maharashtra CET. 7 exams.
Okay. So would you recommend, let's say, focusing on a few exams or let's say going all out?
I'll say go all out because it honestly, like there are quite a few colleges through all the exams, right? Like all good colleges are through these exams and everything. So it's not really necessary to like just be focused on one thing at once. You are basically, and it's about everything. So like to give a small example, like I scored well in IIFT, but I got short of 0.17 in GK. So I couldn't get in, but that the whole point was to like basically not only like quant, verbal and your logic is important, but you have to be on your toes when it comes to like GK or like a GD preparation or a PI preparation. So it's like a bouquet full of surprises there.
Okay, so the more exams that you prepare for, the more you hone yourself for different situations, right? So yes, this is a lesson that all of you can take from here. Right, let's see some other questions. Please throw some light on how to handle the pressure and focus on preparation. For me, it's like, for me, it's like I'm overthinking and putting pressure on mind and thus unable to focus. This is Rakesh's question.
Okay, sure. I was in a similar state, but so I think like for exams, now try and be as chill as you can be. So for me, like I started preparing for IIT also, okay, and I couldn't crack that. But when IIT exams happened, like all this JEE and everything happened, I was so pressurized during the exam and all that. Even when I had prepared and all, I couldn't attempt well. The whole point is to keep yourself as free as you can. Just So maybe like overthinking comes from the fact that, you think you're not prepared, or you think that you've not done certain things. Try and do mocks as much as you can. Try and analyze mocks. Try and understand what question you chose, whether you chose it rightly, or whether you like spend unnecessary time on the other questions. Did you go do that? Or was it like you did not know the subject well, or you did not know that chapter well particularly? So if you go about like figuring out your own sort of like strengths and weaknesses, it will give you like more power over yourself. You can control how you like, think about the exams and how you appear for it. But definitely for most exams, I think being calm and composed on that day means a lot than being all hyper and, like while attempting. Yeah.
Right. So self-belief is important, and you can actually, in case you are overthinking, ask yourself, why are you overthinking? Where is this overthinking stemming from? So always keep on asking why, keep drilling down, keep narrowing down to the problem and then solve it.
True.
Right? So that will help definitely. And yes, as she said, that practice, focus on your strengths, find out your weaknesses, work on them. And don't just work on your weaknesses. Students are very busy improving themselves at their weaknesses that they don't pay attention to their strengths. Right? So pay attention to your strengths as well, so that you become better there.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see some other queries. We have a lot of them. Sejal. Not much time for MAHCT. Tell us some key points to prepare. Really very nervous for the examination.
Okay, I'm sure I'll be fine. So all the best, first of all. I'll say that start doing like for quant and all, just try figuring out the key formulas or the key concepts that each topic carries. And there'll be like only 5 to 6 type of questions for each topic, and then 5 to 6 type of ways to solve them. So just like, whatever topics you know well, just master those, the methods of solving those questions, and then do, like for me, what worked in quant was time-based practice. Like I used to sit with a 30-minute timer. I had like this old alarm clock, so I just set 30 minutes timer on it, and then I used to try solving at least 35 to 40 questions. And I would try that, I would take 40 questions at a time, and then I'll be like, okay, like if I don't understand something in between, I'm not going to attempt that. I'm just going to let it be and move on to the next question. So in that, like, and when you do like an honest practice of those 30-minute session every day, it will help you understand if you are it will help you understand how to choose the questions better. That will be something I did for quant, which might be useful. For verbal, actually, what I did was I had this, like I took all the good words and everything which I felt were difficult for me to understand. So all these synonyms and antonyms and everything. And I used to like stick it around the house, or I used to give like one copies to my friends and be like, whenever you find me not doing something, just ask me. So like, I think that's how for me the verbal practice went around. So you can maybe use that. And for logic, I think you will need like really good materials. I'm sure that'll be available on the platform. And also all of those things can be definitely utilized for that practice.
Okay.
And analyze mocks well. That's like one of the key things to do, is to like spend at least, like if it's a 2-hour exam, spend like 4 hours on the mock, because you understand how you could have done better.
Right. So I hope you've got a detailed preparation strategy, right, Sejal? So for verbal, for quant, for LRDI, Urvika has told us various tips. Follow them, practice consistently. That's what she's saying, that she would indulge in speed-based practice, consistent practice, and she would not get stuck on one question. She would proceed if she weren't understanding a question at that point of time. So I hope this will help you. Right. For other state students, okay, a very pertinent question, Vivek. For students from other states who are not from Maharashtra, what are the chances for JBIMS?
Okay. So having been a student that way myself, I can pretty much understand where this question is coming from. So I think when I joined, there were like 6 exams in total, which JBIMS was considering just for 18 seats from all India, starting from like CAT, ZAT, CMAT, ATMA, MAT, and CET. It is narrowed down to 3 exams this year. It's only CAT, CET, and CMAT. So that's a good thing, plus point for everyone here. It is tough, honestly, because you have so many people preparing just for 18 seats. For me, I didn't even want to fill the form because I wanted to get in, but I was so skeptical of how it will go and all. So, but it's not that way also. Like, you know, I did not do well in all the other previous exams, or even if I did well, I couldn't get in, but I got in over here. So the key is like, even if the exam comes in last, because this is like the last exam of the season, just don't lose hope. Just be very motivated to attempt that. The chances might be slim, but it's not impossible, right? So you can always give it a try and give it like an honest attempt to the exam. So.
Okay, I hope that answers your query. Okay, so a general question, because you're saying that we shouldn't lose hope and we should give it an honest try. So Anshu's saying how to stay motivated, because our scores are fluctuating continuously. So we are sort of facing ups and downs continuously. So how to stay motivated?
Okay, how to stay motivated? That's quite a question. So I'll try to answer that one. I think like give marks only. I think the only key to being motivated is giving marks, analyzing and knowing that you're doing well, because nothing else will help you at this point in time. Because if you don't attempt marks thinking like you're scared and you don't want to see what the scores are coming out, or you just don't want to reflect on it, it will, like, you know, it will keep on coming back saying that, okay, you've not practiced. But then if you just keep on giving marks and you keep on doing, like, try getting at least like, or just sit with like 10 questions a day, or sit with like a parasymbol, or sit with like a 1 RC, get through it, have consistent practice and consistently focus on getting things right. At least I would say for me that worked. Like when I used to get like at least like 3 on 5 questions correct, I'd be like, okay, more than halfway there. Now just 2 questions.
Okay. So make your mocks your motivation. It should not become something that you get demotivated by. It should propel you. It should motivate you. It's fine if you are scoring low. Work on the analysis, as Urvika is saying, okay? And then take it that, okay, I have to perform better than this, right? Okay. Also, how much, if I ask you to give an estimate, how much time did you devote to your preparation in its entirety, to your MHCET preparation?
Okay, so I enrolled myself in that 1 year long program for learning and everything. So like we started around August and the exams were like So I started in August 15 and I think exam was in March 17. So it was quite a long time, but I did not really attend the classes. I wasn't that great. So like in July, I think I still remember I went to one of my faculty and I went to him and I'm like, you help me understand how to go about this now, because I haven't done a lot in the past, like, you know, like almost a year now, and exams are like due now. So how to go about it. So he helped me understand as to you need to have your own sort of strategy to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and then have your schedule around it. So honestly, it took me like 3 to 4 months of preparation to get through. But then again, it's not just 1 month of preparation, right? Because you're preparing for CAT, that, and also all that also counts. So even if it is like 20 days now, or if it's like 15 days now, it doesn't matter because you have been preparing for it from the past. So you are already prepared for it. All that you need at this last moment is like Nikita also mentioned, like just hone your skills for the best. Like.
Right. So I hope this makes you less nervous, Tulana, or Tulna, I'm sorry. You asked that is cracking CET in 2 months possible? So yes, you have been preparing, right? You've been preparing for other exams. You've been attending classes. Probably you've been taking tests also. And now that mocks have begun, take them. Don't think it was itna hi time bacha and make it a constraint in your head, right? Okay, Bhavik is asking, and this is something that I am also curious to know. How is life at JB?
Okay, it is. So I'll say that everything about B schools is like, you know, fascinating while we are on the other side of it. While we are in that, like those 2 years are like really exhausting, but at the same time, they are very enriching. It is everything that you hear about, like, you know, like amazing life with professors. You get to learn a lot and you get to experience and peer, like your network building or like understanding from learning from your peers and all. So that's all true. But and this at the same time, you got to understand that, you know, like you are basically not preparing for those 2 years, you're preparing for the life ahead. So you need to be very like, you know, like take every experience as a learning experience. At JB in particular, like definitely known for one of the best faculties, like, and one of the best sort of alumni network and everything. And that stands true even when you are in there. For you, the onus is basically to like, keep going with it and keep matching the standards which people have set in the past. So it's like all your committees and all your placements and everything that's there. And definitely, like, you will learn a lot. If there's anything specific that you would want me to cover, I'll focus on that as well then.
Okay, so I think that should be a motivating factor. Even those who are feeling demotivated, nervous, this should become your motivating factor, that these 2 years at JB are going to propel you, right? They're going to make you learn a lot of new things.
Yeah.
All right. So we have addressed some queries. I am taking them up one by one. Please be a little patient with me. Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll talk about the day of the exam, right? If there are students who get jittery right on the day of the exam, so how to take care of that? How did you cope with that?
Okay. I was always that nervous kid who used to have like hands trembling during exam time and all. So the key is to like, don't take it too seriously, like it's the end of the world. When you are in that mode, know that, okay, this is the exam. If this doesn't happen, nothing happens and all that. Then you will start to feel the pressure. But if you're like, okay, another day, another exam, just go with it. Let's see how it goes. And then we'll figure out what happens later. So don't think about the result. Don't think about, obviously you guys have prepared well and you are all there on that day of the exam is like enough for victory. So just like, enjoy it while you are there, like take things one at a time. Don't try to rush. I think these are some of the lessons which I would have given to a younger self of mine. I mean, I used to like a lot of undue pressures even where it was not needed. So on the day of the exam, don't go into like rushing into like revising everything a day before exam, or like trying to do everything in one night before it. And take good sleep, eat well, go there, see how things are working out for you. Like, I'll just take a small example here for my one of like during CAT, like we had a tough section in DI, and I was not prepared for that well. So I did the verbal was very good. I was very confident, okay, it's all going good. And then DI happened. And then it was a mess. But like in one of the mocks earlier, it had happened that DI was a mess. And so I did not do well in quant also, because I was so pressurized with the DI, thinking that, okay, I have ruined this section. So now it's definitely like it's all going for a toss. You need to understand that if it is difficult for you, it is difficult for everyone. So it's a relative thing. If it doesn't work out for you, there's a good chance that it will not work out for others. I'm not trying to like create that thing here, but you need to know that just keep your calm. Even like, so my DI went bad, but I knew from that earlier mock that, okay, I did ruin my quant section. I don't have to do this over here. So then after DI was done, I'm like, okay, I'll take 1 sip of water, I'll relax, take 3 deep breaths, and then I'll start on the quant. So all of these, there are like very little things to keep yourself motivated during the examinations, but I think for me, it worked out well.
Okay. So one of the things that comes out here is that your previous mock experience actually helped you.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
So when we regularly take mocks, then the exam day would probably become just another mock for us. Right?
You are prepared for all sort of challenges. Like, okay, like in one of the mocks when verbal was tough, this is how I went about it. Because you will not have same strategy every time when you are appearing for an exam.
Absolutely. So, in fact, if you want to read more about it, Soumya, there's this book, The Power of Habit, that talks about Michael Phelps, the ace swimmer. And he also had the same problem, these pre-match jitters, right? So read how he overcame them. Okay, and you'll find a very similar lesson to what we have discussed. Okay? All right. So tell me a bit about what, like, you cracked MHCET. It must have been a great feeling. But how did you proceed ahead? How was the road ahead like?
Okay, sure. So like I mentioned that, like a GDPI and all is very important part of it. I joined in as a fresher. So the average, I joined in when I was 20, and I think like the batch average was 25, and everyone was, so it was a very different sort of feeling, because everyone, I think it's equally difficult for both freshers and even with people who come from experience, because for them, they have a lot to unlearn. They have a lot to take, because it's a different set of skill set. So it's not like, even if you're younger, doesn't mean you don't know certain things. You come with your own experience, your own perspective, which is very fresh and which is equally respected. But at the same time, you have to understand that the entire batch who has had those 5-6 years of experience when they've gotten in, for them, it will be a little easier because they will know how businesses function. They know how organizations work, which you might not know. But that doesn't make you any lesser. You just have to be at the top of your game every single time. You know, okay, there's an assignment due, or there's a case study due, or there is like a certain sort of presentation. You do your homework well, know what works for you, know what sort of, and understand. So like all this peer-based learning and everything is really true, because you come with certain sort of skills which someone else can learn from you. And at the same time, you have a lot to learn from others. Just be open to that learning, be open to like explore things, broaden your horizon, all of those things, which probably I did not know while I was pursuing my undergrad. So I think all of those skills really helped me later on during MBA here.
Okay. What was the experience of preparing for interviews like? And how was the interview experience also?
So it's very different from how like preparing for B school experiences is. But I still remember like I appeared for HUL, GD and all like at 5:30 in the morning. So they do come at such times and you have to be like it doesn't, and you like people are preparing. We are like 6-7 days, we are in one auditorium, everyone's like doing their best to get in and all. So it's a different sort of motivation, it's a different sort of feeling to be there. It's like you share this common story together with everyone. You just have to like understand like all your GD and everything. So like keep reading current affairs, keep reading newspapers daily. All these skills are not something which you will just enter a B school and pick up. You will have to be prepared for it right from the beginning. So I'm sure you must be having editorial sessions and also take those things seriously. Read books, take book reviews seriously, because all of these things are essentially preparing you for verbal. They are essentially preparing you for the skills which you will require later on.
Okay. So this tells us that our reading will not just help us in the verbal section, it will help us even beyond, sure. Right? And yes, so the road ahead is not that easy, but yes, if you're sincere about it, as Urvika was waking up at 5:30 a.m., you will crack it. Okay, you will make it.
So I think it was a part of all of our journey. You have to like, I remember like at 4:30 in the morning, everyone's like rushing and we're trying to, like people are tying their ties and we are like looking for blazers and shoes and we are like, okay, we have to be like on point and everything. So yeah, it's a different thing. At the same time, the preparation is also equally exciting for it because it's very different than what you've been doing until then.
Okay. So, Urvika, you told us that the exams earlier used to be, the exams that JBIMS accepted, they used to be 6, right? And that has been reduced to 3, right? So could you throw light on, let's say, how to prepare for those exams as well, if let's say JB is my target?
Okay. So like for CMAT and CET, like CAT also?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So CAT and all is already, so CAT, like I mentioned that, you know, you will have to be a lot more methodical of how you go about solving and everything. The strategy would be very different than a speed-based exam. Like you have to know the concepts well, you'll have to practice more and you'll have to focus. Like for me, I think it was a little difficult than, let's say like a CET or a CMAT sort of thing, because like I mentioned earlier also, like for CMAT, I think the preparation strategy would be similar to what CET is. For me, like only 2 things work well was practice more and have speed-based practice. Because other than that, every strategy that you have is going to be your own. Like, you know, you will know your personal strengths, you will know your weaknesses. Just tackle your weaknesses well and at the same time practice a little more. So I used to do this, like for a weaker area, which whatever topic I was weaker in, I used to spend like 3 to 4 hours a day, maybe trying to learn it better. And at the same time, like for the stronger area, I used to spend like only 1 to 2 hours at night just before going to bed, when I want to just feel like, okay, no, I've done for the day now. Just these 2 hours are for myself to figure out how I'm going to improve myself in this stronger areas.
Okay, so I think this answers the queries of a lot of students. They had this query that how to prepare for MHCT and CAT together, how to prepare for MHCT and CMAT together. So I hope Apurv, I've answered your query. Sumant, I hope Urvika has answered your query, right? Now, some very specific queries. Okay. This is a very specific query, Urvika. Manoj is asking this. If you remember, how much time you used to take per section? when attempting the mocks?
I really don't remember it. Because CAT was a lot more structured. You know, you had 1 hour each, but I really don't remember for the section-wise timing that I had for CET as such. For me, the only strategy was to finish it all as quickly as possible and just mark the questions which are going to be difficult for me so I can like visit them later on.
Okay, so Manoj, it varies from person to person. It will depend a lot on your strengths and weaknesses, how much time you take per section. So there's no standard answer to this, right? Okay, so let me see if we have some more queries that will address some generic questions. There are a lot of specific questions here. The profile required. So yes, I wanted to talk to you about this, that you're a fresher. So was that a disadvantage? What kind of profiles do they prefer, or do they have any preference? Yeah.
So for JBIMS as such, there is no profile preference because you give the exam and it's a good thing is like you get it. So you don't have to really worry a lot about it. But then again, profiles are something which really matter to you while you are pursuing the course, like for your placements or for you when you're looking at other opportunities also. It's good to have a good profile. I wouldn't say like you need to have like everything in there, but like a decent academics or for you to understand that. So like for someone who's coming with the work experience, obviously they will have a certain edge in terms of having known or having done those things before. But if you haven't, you can always put experiences like your committee experiences or when you work with events or you've done internships and all of those things, which add equal value. Because for you, you will be evaluated basis your profile at your age or like your qualifications. So it's not like you versus someone who's been in the industry for 5 years. So you will have your own sort of edge, just bring that in, have a certain sort of buckets, a certain sort of understanding of where you do well.
Okay. Were you asked any specific question in the interview about this, that, okay, you don't have an experience, a work experience, so why don't you take it first? Something of that sort.
So this question comes up a lot of time. A lot of people have asked me like, why did you directly jump into like, you know, from bachelor's to MBA? You could have just taken like a year or two to figure out and all. But it's not about that. It's like for me, I wanted to have that. So I do believe a lot in like, you know, that education brings you a lot more perspective and all of those things, which I think for me, it worked out well in my favor. So I got into JB and all. The good thing is like I had this startup, I had ISRO as an internship, I had few other committee events and few things because I've always been that kid who wanted to do everything. So like I had a few things here and there which really helped back my sort of skills when it came to them picking me up for a college or interview or anything. So I think for you also, like when you guys are preparing, you might want to have that, like highlight those things which you are good at. You need not be what everyone else is, but then you have to be yourself. Like you need to have something for yourself to like bank
upon. Okay.
But it doesn't come as a disadvantage. So that's something like it wouldn't matter. Like once you are in there, it doesn't matter what age you are or what background you are from. There are CAs, there are people who've done engineering, there are people who come from commerce backgrounds. We had accounting and finance majors and different like bachelors of marketing and everything. So it's like a mixed group and everyone sort of comes with their own skills. You got to like you get to learn from everyone there.
Okay. So that again answers the queries of a lot of students. Soumya, I hope this addresses your query. Okay. And yes, this is a very specific query. How many marks did ma'am give? I'm very sure that even ma'am doesn't remember this. How many marks she gave?
Right. I think I remember. I think for CAT, yeah, I think I do because I used to give like from the last couple of months were only marks because you're done preparing and you feel like, you know, now you're done preparing. So you need to at least get that exam taking experience beforehand. So I think I gave about 30 marks for at least, but that was over like a period of 2 months. So then it's okay if like within the next 20 days, even if you take like 5 to 7 marks, I think it should be enough. Just spend enough time analyzing those marks because that is very important. Even if you take 3 marks, but you analyze well and it works out for you, it's for the best. So it doesn't really matter how many number of marks you take, but it does matter that you figure out your own strategy while preparing for those exams.
Okay. Okay. Right. So I hope this answers the question. How many marks? Right. And analysis, as Urvika is saying, as in fact all your mentors keep telling you, analysis is very, very important. For any entrance exam, you learn through questions, you learn through solving, you learn through seeing your errors. Right? Okay. So a general question, that how did MBA change your life course?
Okay. So I think, okay, there's like a lot of aspects to that question, but I think for me personally, I feel like when I was doing like my BTech, I did not have like a lot of understanding of how business things would function. Like if I were making a project, or if I was doing a product, or if anything I was working on, it was more of from the perspective that, okay, you know, like from technology point of view or algorithm point of view or this, that, it is looking very nice. But when you come to MBA, you start looking at things from a much larger perspective, because now you're going to be a part of an organization's growth story, basically, albeit like a smaller part, but a meaningful part, right? So you have to like start putting in things into larger picture of things, how they're going to function. It becomes a lot more method oriented, a lot more process oriented. You're open to new things, but at the same time, there are like now constraints in place. So it does change you for good, for sure. You learn, like you develop a different set of skill set altogether, starting from your people management skills, your time management skills, and something which probably isn't as important when we are pursuing our undergrad or any different course for that matter.
Okay, great. Let me see. How many months before you started preparation? I think Urvika has answered this. She started with a serious preparation from July and the exam was in March. Right? So that's how she started. But then it also matters how many hours you were able to give to the preparation, if you could have a ballpark figure.
I think, well, like on weekends, I used to try giving 10 to 12 hours. But in the weekdays, because college and everything was going on, it used to take about 6 to 7 hours, because morning, and I'm counting the 3 hours of mock time in it. Because that was my way of receiving that I'm putting in those 3 hours as well while preparing. It's like it was 3 plus like 4 hours about for analyzing counts and figuring out things.
So 3 hours of mocks, 4 hours of analyzing it, plus 10 to 12 hours over the weekends.
Because it at the end, like if you it does take a lot of time for you to like clear all those concepts and go about it. But like looking at how the tight schedule right now is, you guys can give 10 to 12 hours every day, and like, you know, like it'll be easier to get done that way.
Okay, okay. So I hope, Shubham, that answers your query. Kusum, this answers your query. Right. Okay. So again, a specific query is which all areas is JBIMS focused primarily on, let's say, finance or some other stream, or is there no such focus? This is just a perception.
No, it's just a perception, because we are like, the college is really known for finance because it sits in Mumbai, which is the finance capital of India that way. So you have a lot of opportunities in finance, but that doesn't mean that the other courses, like the other disciplines, are not that great or something. Equal focus to marketing, equal focus to operations, and equal focus to human resources. But since the batch size is so small, like we're just 130 of us in a class, so like the people who opt for finance would be a little more than the people who rather like opt for like a marketing or that way. But actually the batch like the composition also changes basis year to year. So it really depends on what kind of students are coming,
okay,
what specialization they want. Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right. So you were saying earlier that this is the advice I would give to my younger self. So some advice for our students on things that help you and things that you could have done, things that you would want them to do.
Okay, sure. So like I mentioned earlier also, like reading that editorial and summarizing it, that was something which I did not do. I regret it. I should have done it well right in the beginning. I picked up all these skills while doing MBA, but I realized I would have saved so much time had I picked it up earlier. Similarly, reading, it's a good hobby to cultivate, but at the same time, it also helps you a lot. Like for people who are facing issues with all these parajumbles or sentence completion and grammar for that matter, or RCs also, once you start reading, you'll start comprehending things so well that, you know, all the verbal would become a little bit easier for them, which I think I did not do. So definitely a note to my younger self. One, and last but not the least, is focus on all areas of preparation. Don't take it as just an exam, because necessarily you are like readying yourself for the future. It's not just font or just verbal or like, okay, like, like that did the exam all done and set now. It's a lot more about really taking those skills ahead with you. Like you learn analytical skills, you start taking like small things like on which you want to focus, which you don't want to focus. All of these things are translated into like much larger scheme of things later on. So like that, yeah, like I really did not prepare that well for general knowledge and all. So like when I look back, I feel like I should have given like enough importance to all the areas that way.
Okay, so having a longer term focus and being consistent with your preparation, right? That would be Urvika's advice to you. And I hope we've cleared your queries. Thank you all for joining in. Thank you, Urvika, for devoting your time to us. It was a great conversation with you.
Yeah, it was really nice here as well to like interact with everyone. I wish everyone all the best for their exams. I'm sure it'll be great.
Yes, all the best to all of you. And if you like the session, I found a lot of value in it. If you liked it, please press like and please share it with your friends. They also might find it helpful. Thank you so much, Urvika.
Thank you so much, Mhct. Bye.
Bye, everyone.